Hi everyone, I'm Riona. Today I'm starting a challenge where I draw my original character in a different art style every day. I've been wanting to try something like this for a while because there are so many amazing art styles out there. I think it will be a fun way to learn new techniques, step outside my comfort zone, and maybe discover new things that I can add to my own way. For day 1, I'll be trying out a messy art style. Before we begin, here are some messy art style references that I found and used as inspiration for today's drawing. As you can probably tell, there are so many different versions of this style. Some look very painterly, some are more sketchy, and others are somewhere in between. Because of that, it was a little difficult to figure out what exactly counts as a messy art style. Anyway, feel free to watch the speed paint while I talk about my experience with this style. To be honest, I'm still not completely sure if my drawing can be considered a true messy art style. When I searched for reference on Pinterest, I found a huge variety of artworks all labeled as messy art style, and they all look pretty different from each other. Because of that, I decided not to worry too much about making it perfect. Instead, I focused on capturing the overall feeling of the style. And I tried using the techniques that appeared most often in the reference I found. One thing I noticed right away is that this style is actually very beginner friendly. The process is quite simple, and you don't need to spend a lot of time making clean line art. Instead, you start with a raw sketch, then you add the base color, and after that, you do some rendering directly on top of the sketch. Since the sketch remains visible in many messy style artworks, you don't have to stress too much about making everything look perfectly clean. Personally, I found this part really relaxing. Sometimes, when I'm working on the tiled line art, I can spend way too much time fixing tiny mistakes or trying to make every line look perfect. With this style, I felt much more free. I could focus on the colors, the shapes, and the overall mood of the artwork. As I continue rendering, I noticed that the drawings start coming together surprisingly quickly. The loose brushwork and visible sketch lines give the artwork a lot of personality, and I can definitely understand why so many artists enjoy drawing this way. Since this technique is actually pretty similar to the workflow I usually use, this challenge wasn't particularly difficult for me. In fact, it felt quite comfortable and familiar. That's probably why I had so much fun with this one. Even though it wasn't the most challenging style I've ever tried, I still enjoyed the process. It allowed me to focus more on experimenting and less on perfection. I also think this style is a great option for artists who don't enjoy making line art or for anyone who wants to finish illustrations faster without sacrificing too much detail. Of course, every artist approaches messy art style differently, so there isn't really one correct way to do it. That another thing I like about it is it gives you a lot of freedom to interpret the style in your own way. As for my final drawing, I'm actually pretty happy with how it turned out. There are definitely a few things I would improve if I draw it again, but overall, I think it captures the vibe I was aiming for. And now, the artwork is finally finished. What do you think of my attempt at the messy art style? Do you think it looks like a messy art style, or would you describe it differently? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, what art style should I try next for day 2? There are so many possibilities, and I'm excited to keep this challenge going. If you have any suggestions, tips, or ideas, feel free to leave the comment below. I might even choose one of your suggestions for a future video. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my art journey. I really appreciate it. See you in the next video. Bye bye.